Tonight's subject is peace of mind, how to get it and how to keep it. And we've all had moments, incredible moments, I'm sure, each one in this room, of peace of mind, where we felt quiet inside, we felt at peace with ourselves, and then at peace with the world. And I'm sure many of you, as well as myself, have spent many times where we were not peaceful, and we did not have that peace of mind. It either got covered up with anger, or fear, or a what if, apprehensive, self-contempt, everything. We've had everything. And then how do we get back to the peace of mind? And how do we, as we keep going in our lives, keep more in the peace of mind? Somebody explained something from India just recently. And he said, for every high you will have a low. Because for every inhale you'll have an exhale. For every light you'll have a dark. But if you're not attached to only the light and only the highs, then you'll go with the flow. It'd be like attached to the ocean waves. If they're up, I like them. If they come into the shore, I don't like them. And you have a discrimination of what you like and what you don't like. What if we all liked everything? What if the challenge in front of us, we said thank you? What if the darkest night of our soul came and we said thank you? The greatest day of our lives and we said thank you. The biggest challenge we've ever had in front of us and we still say thank you. That's where peace of mind comes. Not when you get all the ducks lined up and then you say, now I will be peaceful. Now I will find a quietness inside of me. Because as soon as the ducks are lined up, and we know ducks, right? You have ducks here. Lots of ducks. One gets out of line. That little baby duck will get out of line. And then we get unhappy. And then the challenges come, and then we say, why me? Then we become a victim. And then we go back to addictive behavior and carry on and on. And then we come back to the final, I couldn't help it. He did this, she did this, society did this. My body did this. And so then you go down, and then you have no peace. Because we're all waiting for that peace to come on the outside, but it never comes. It comes momentarily. But if we base peace on circumstantial evidence, it will come and go as much as the sun goes behind the clouds. But if you make a decision that you shall be at peace, you shall be happy, always. I'm not saying it's going to work 100%, but if you make that as a premise, I believe that's the first step to peace of mind. There's a story that I really love. It was a 90-year-old woman. She had been married many, many years to a man, like 50 years. And he was as old as she, and he passed. It was fine. She was sad, but she wasn't brokenhearted. She moved into a living situation where she was going to get support. What do they call those things? They're not like old people's homes anymore. Supported living. Yeah. So she's waiting in the lobby to be taken to her place where she'll live. And the man came up and he said, I'm so sorry that it's taking a long time to get your room ready. And then he went on to start explaining it to her. And she interrupted him and she said, it's perfect. It's perfect. And he said, how do you know it's perfect? You've never seen it. She said, I made a decision a long time ago in my life to see everything as in perfect order. No matter what it is, I see it as right and I welcome it. So she didn't need to see the room, see the quarters that she was going to live in before. She just said, it's perfect. Maybe it took her 90 years to come to that. But as you get older, you almost have to surrender to the perfection of the Creator. Or you end up fighting and fighting and fighting with yourself, with others, with the government, with situations, with the environment, and you're always working in a fighting way. There's nothing in the world like surrender. It takes a lot of courage to have surrender. Courage is nothing that you develop. It's always with us. It can be called upon at any moment. But it's always, can you choose it or not to choose it? Because it's always there. Like our consciousness, our souls, our love of our hearts, our humanism. It's always there. It doesn't have to be developed. We take so many classes on how to develop your personality, how to develop your true potential, but really, it's already there. If we can go through the layers of fear, we get down to our essential self, which is bountiful and beautiful and blissful. Always has been, always will be. That's our true essence. It's almost like remembering who you are. And it comes. And it will come. If you have a daily practice. I was thinking on the way over, peace of mind is almost like brushing your teeth. Most of us, I would hope, brush their teeth every day. Because you know it's maintenance on your teeth. And it's something necessary to do. Especially if you want to keep your friends and have a good smelling mouth. Most of us don't even think about not brushing our teeth. But most people so far don't think about the necessity, as important as brushing your teeth, is brushing your mind. Cleaning your mind every day out so you don't get the plaque layers of the old. And that's where meditation comes in. It's something that doesn't have to wait until you're so challenged or so desperate or so sick or so tired that you just crawl to read a book or crawl to a meditation class. And then often what people do, they get well, things look better that day, the sun starts shining, and they stop doing it because they arrived already. But would you stop brushing your teeth if they got all clean? No, you would continue. And that's really what meditation is. That's really what yoga is. I know you've heard it a lot in the yoga world, but it is a daily practice. It's a daily practice that keeps you steady and keeps you connected to yourself. That's why if you're of a certain religion, say Catholic, and you go to Mass every day, that's your plug-in. Or you're Jewish and you go to temple every day, that's your plug-in. If you have a way to plug in every day to who you are, maybe for some people it's an hour walk. It's sitting in prayer. It's doing something that takes you back to the source every single day. Most people get up, they brush their teeth, they put a comb across their hair, they run down, they have a cup of coffee, and they run out to go to work. And we suffer when we do that. Because we didn't let our bodies, minds, and spirits clean the residue from the day before. The mind gets clouded, it gets thick, it gets layered with too many thoughts. And when there's too much cloudiness, there's no peace. Some people wait till it gets so bad, or they think, I'll go on a vacation, that'll take care of it. Sometimes you come back so exhausted from a vacation, you have to have a vacation from the vacation. And yet, you can sit every morning and meditate and have a vacation. And what you're really looking for is a vacation from your mind. A vacation so this thing just shuts off and leaves you alone. The way to shut it off and let you be in peace is through your breath, and that's simply what meditation is. I was just talking with Susan and Jen, who were so beautiful to put this whole program together here in Edmonton, and how they have such a longing to go into all the public schools, but yet some schools will say, we can't teach meditation because it's religious. We can't bring that into our schools, whether it's a private school, a secular school, a public school, because it's religious. And then you have to say, is your breath religious? And what religion does your breath belong to? Is your breath Catholic? Is your breath Jewish? Is your breath atheist? Is it agnostic? Is it Protestant? Breath is breath is breath. Breath is breath by definition. It has no association. Only females breathe. Only males breathe. Only animals, raccoons breathe. No. Everything that's alive has breath, and that's all meditation is. You can look at animals and you can say, they really are meditators. You don't see a cow trying to be a horse by trying to practice all day long horse sounds. Or a raccoon trying to run like a leopard. Or a bird or a cow trying to fly, unless he flies over the moon. Because animals have it really quite easy in one way. They are what they are. And they don't try to change themselves to be something else. But when we become human beings, we have all the choices in the world. And the question comes, who are you? Who are you copying? And do we have role models of who to copy? Or do we just read magazines and try to copy their fashion, or go to movies, or whatever the trend is? Or someone we wish we were, and so we copy them. In many ways, animals have it easier than we, because they can just be who they are. But the question at hand is, who are you? Why did you come to Earth? You could call it reincarnation or not, but why were you born? Are you just kind of hanging around until you're not here anymore? Filling up space, just having a good time? I think we have a bigger reason than that to be here. I think we have a reason to be here, being that we all need to come together like we're doing tonight. We need to live for each other, not at each other. We need to find a peace so we can send that peace on. We need to help people. We need to be healers. We need to be givers. Because that's where happiness is. Everything else is kind of false, actually. It's really false security. I grew up in the 40s and 50s in the Midwest in the United States, and at that time they had been through World War I, World War II, the Great Depression, the Korean War, and they now had one time where there wasn't a war upon us and we could start buying things. And so the whole United States became so consumed out by things that we started actually worshiping things. We never talked about God. We never talked about giving. We were just figuring out what we're going to buy next. And everybody wanted to own a house. And everyone wanted so many kids and so many cars. They went on and on like that. And they wanted their children to go to college, each one to get a better life than they had. But it was always based on the fear of what had come before. The wars, the depression, everything. And so they were figuring if they could just get secure on the earth, then everything was going to be okay. So it was really a nation based on fear. fear and scarcity of what if it all happens again. I'm going to get that house. At least I'm going to get that house. I'm going to get that car. And then, of course, the 60s came, and by that time, we threw off that idea. And we said, that's not what will make us happy. And then we became hippies. And out of that, I know you had them here in Canada too, out of that came 1969, which was the dawning of the Aquarian Age, where we were determined to know why we were alive on this planet. We were determined that we all had to be together, and we all had to live for each other and not at each other, and not to be so consumed by consumerism and not so consumed with competition and with comparison. And so we started these communes all over the United States, and I know also in Canada, where we try to live in love. We try to live in a way that we could all be together, work together, share our food together, share our clothing together, and do everything. We often try to use no money, to barter, try to go back to ways that we thought throughout history had worked better. Many people left, they went back to Wall Street, but many people stayed, and I was one of those people who got grace to keep moving on this path. And in 1970, I met Yogi Bhajan and began this path as I sit here today. When he came in 1969, he said, I came to help you to find out who you are. I came to say, don't believe anything anybody says. Don't even believe what I said, he said. We all could be lying to you. You have to find your truth within yourself. You have to have the experience of it. Not just somebody telling you there's a God. And then you mimic like a parrot, there's a God. How do you know? Because he said it. There's an afterlife. How do you know? He said it, she said it. And you started just taking everybody else's beliefs and saying they're mine, but you had no experience of it. And when you don't have experience of truth, it falls short. So he brought Kundalini Yoga to America and to Canada. And he said, do this and see if you have the experience yourself that there is a God. And so we said, okay, we'll do it. And we've been doing it ever since. And many of you came last night, many of you have come 10 years ago, 20 years ago, just yesterday or last week. And if you get touched by this, what it does, it almost pushes a button inside of you that lets all the fear go so you can find out what's really in there. And that's you. The you within the you. The one you've been waiting for so long has always been there. And it's such a revelation that often people cry. Often people go through so much, but they feel better. And then whenever reporters or anybody tries to get me to say, what is Kundalini Yoga? We can go on and on. We can give you as a scientific breath and angles, and we can give you lots of good reasons. But what we always end up saying, you have to try it. You can't know it unless you do it. And make that connection inside yourself. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. For within you has always been the peace. Within you has always been the self-love. Within you has always been your creative potential. Within you is your greatness, your beauty. Your abundance is within you. Every single thing you've ever longed to have, whether it's just money in your pocket, love in your life, creative jobs, living in beautiful places, whatever it is, it's already there. And that's the cosmic joke. That's the cosmic joke. That once you get that and start letting your life just unfold as it is, not fighting, not wanting it to be this way or that way, or I had planned when I was 32 that I was going to, all that kind of monkey business that runs in our head, we say, let go, let God. And then you can relax. And then peace of mind can come no matter what's going on outside of you. You get off the roller coaster of emotions. Your health gets better. Your life just gets better. So let us do it tonight, okay?